What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So today's video is going to be relatively short. I'm going to be talking about a Tierfon Orbital Scrap clean. This is a clean version of the ScrapFlexes that I do, and there are some changes that are on this particular... Man, my camera is having a hard time focusing on this hilt. So this scrap has got some different parts in it. I've rolled out some different greeblies on these scraps that I do, and this is the first time that I've done a clean one in a while. So I'm rolling out those some different greeblies on this one as well, and I do want to talk about that, right? So I'm not going to come into Fusion and talk about the chassis. I believe I've done that plenty of times before. However, I do want to come up top and talk about the chassis, or talk about, well, we'll talk about the chassis, but I also want to talk about the hilt and what goes into making it, as well as some of those new parts. And then we will do a demo, we'll put a blade in it, and then I will package this up and send it along to its new owner, right? So anyhow, with all of that out of the way, why don't you join me up top? Come along. All right. Thanks for tagging along. Here we are up top. Why am I like this? So this is a ScrapFlex. This is a Tierfon ScrapFlex. It is the clean version of the Tierfon ScrapFlexes that I do, right? I'm really liking this strong contrast between polished brass and aluminum on this one. I'm super happy with how it came out, right? I do want to talk a little bit about the greeblies, right? So let's start at the bottom. So there is one thing that is missing from this build, and that is the D-ring. So the D-ring will be mounted on this copper plate. I just have not done that yet. I will do that as soon as I'm done with this video. It will be attached with a threaded like hex bolt, right? But I just have not added that yet. So that will be at the bottom here. There is a brass greebly plate down here. This is a brass greebly, like circular greebly. This is just a brass piece that I designed and printed in brass, kept it polished. Usually what I do down here are I just put like brass plates, or like, you know, I cut them myself and then I like essentially JB weld them down here. I wanted to do something easier to expedite that process and make it look a little cleaner. So from now on both versions, on the clean version and the weathered version of this hilt, this brass tube greebly will be down here, right? So depending on which version you get, it'll be weathered or it'll be polished. I really like how the polished one came out. It looks great, right? This is a Graflite grip. Typically they look like this. So that is a vintage Graflite handle at the bottom here. Graflex 2.0 adapter. This is how we thread into this upper 2.0 Graflex blade holder up here, right? Then around the upper part of the hilt, there is another like brass accent or greebly up here, okay? I talked about this in my last Tierfon ScrapFlex video, but I'm doing these myself now. So this has been printed in steel. Okay, this is kind of like a heatsink that serves as like a decorative control box. It's printed in steel, as well as this clamp here. Okay. Red button is a functional red button. And then the aux is around the side here. Okay. So everything is clean. The whole hilt is just remained clean because that is how the customer wanted this one, right? I'm really liking the contrast on this one. It really looks great in my opinion. So another unique thing to this install. So depending on which Graflex 2.0 holder I use in these builds, I can either use ones with the notch in them, which happens to be the last shipment of these that I got. They all have the notch. It's strange. The company that I source these from, they never tell me which ones I'm going to get. So the last batch that I ordered didn't have this notch here, and this batch does, right? So I'm able to put a chassis with a kill switch in this notch. Otherwise, I've got another version of this chassis with a kill switch down here, right? But with this particular one, there is a kill switch up top here, which I do like having this. That way you can hit the kill switch without taking the grip off, right? But a blacked out chassis. This has been done in resin. This chassis has been done in resin. Okay, I said that twice. There's an echo in here. Battery tray is here. Proffie board is around back. Okay. I did add 2 red circular LEDs in this build as well. Okay. So let's put a battery in this guy. Battery tray is here. Negative side is down towards the speaker. So take the flat part of your battery, put it in that battery tray. Hit that kill switch up top here.
Something inside me has always been there.
Okay.
But now it's awake.
So another thing that is in that glass eye, there's another piece of brass mesh. I like putting these in my glass eyes. It makes them look a little bit unique. Right? Okay.
That lightsaber was Luke's.
All right. So I'm going to leave the grip off for now. Let's come down to the bottom. Something that I probably failed to mention. This entire upper Graflex section is from the Graflex Shop. This is a replica Graflex flash gun upper that I essentially chop like a quarter of it off. And everything else is from the Graflex Shop. So that glass eye is from Graflex Shop. Everything, the bunny ears, everything, right? So there's that chassis. Hopefully my camera can cooperate here. And there's that glass eye. Okay. So I'm going to put the grip on here. See what else we put on here.
Ben Solo.
Let's put a blade in it. Okay, so this is a 7/8 inch blade holder. All right. Rest your blade on those PCB pins. There is a brass screw around front here, just above that glass eye, that will serve as your blade retention. Tighten that, and you're ready to go. See what else we put on here. One more. One more.
It is obvious that this contest cannot be decided by our knowledge of the Force.
Okay, so that is it. That is the ScrapFlex from me, Tierfon Orbital ScrapFlex. This is the new version of the clean version, iteration of this hilt, right? Really, really happy with the contrast on this, with that polished brass, right? And it sounds good. It's a great sounding hilt. Anyway. So to the customer, thank you very much for ordering your hilt. Thank you for your patience. If anyone has any questions about this build or anything really, please do not be a stranger. And with that being said, may the Force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.